Hi everyone, this is Dr. Mike and the MYK System. Welcome to Technique Talk episode 13. Now instead of comparing and contrasting another technique, today we're going to get in and look at a research article on upper cross syndrome and then how the MYK system would compare had it been involved. So again, we're going to go to our AI-generated podcast people that are helping me out here, and we're going to see how it goes today. All right, let's dive in.
To the deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about something that I'm sure is on a lot of people's minds, pain relief, and getting back to doing things that you love.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at this myokinesthetic system.
Okay.
You might have heard of it, called MYK for short.
Right.
And it was developed by Dr. Michael Uriarte.
Yeah.
And it's really starting to make a name for itself because of how successful people are saying it.
True.
Is it relieving pain?
Yeah, it's definitely getting some attention even in like the world of professional sports.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like trainers and therapists for teams in the the NBA and the NHL are using this MYK system.
Wow.
And what's really interesting is there's this study that was published in the Journal of Chiropractic Medicine.
Okay.
And it found that every single participant
Really?
in this study reported having their pain completely resolved after finishing MYK treatment.
100%.
That's amazing.
It's a pretty powerful statistic.
Yeah, but we don't want to just like get caught up in the numbers.
Pretty common.
You sent over some really interesting research about treatments for upper cross syndrome, UCS.
Yes.
And I'd love to talk about that in light of what we know about MYK.
Yeah, that's a great connection to make.
Yeah.
Upper cross syndrome, I mean, for those who don't know,
Yeah.
it's basically like that slumped over posture that we all have from, looking at our phones and our computers all the time.
Right.
Basically, you've got tight chest and neck muscles and weak back muscles.
Yeah.
It's like a recipe for pain and just not being able to move very well.
Exactly. And this study that you sent over looked at 11 different research articles.
Yeah,
And a lot of them were randomized controlled trials,
right.
which is like the gold standard when it comes to research.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they were looking at different kinds of treatments for UCS.
And what they found is that doing targeted exercises, like strengthening those back muscles and stretching those chest and neck muscles,
Right.
actually had a really positive impact. And then some other techniques that they looked at were things like the muscle energy technique,
Okay.
soft tissue mobilization, and even using a special kind of chair that helps you have better posture.
And interesting.
And basically across the board, all these treatments seem to really help reduce pain, improve how well your neck could move, and get people back to a more natural posture.
So we've got this study that shows all these different approaches can work for UCS.
Right.
But here's the thing. It doesn't include MYK.
Did not.
So I'm curious, like, based on everything we know about MYK,
Yeah.
how do you think it would compare to these other treatments if it had been included?
That's a really interesting question.
Yeah.
While we can't say for sure without like a direct comparison,
Right.
MYK works on some very unique principles that do actually kind of line up with what we see in the UCS study.
Okay.
It approaches pain from the perspective of the nervous system.
Okay.
Like it recognizes that those muscle imbalances that we see in UCS are messing with the nervous system signals, and that's part of why people are having pain.
Makes sense.
So MYK uses these very targeted muscle manipulation techniques to basically rebalance the nervous system.
Interesting.
So instead of just treating the symptoms, it's trying to get to the root cause.
So it's not just about like treating the tight muscle or the weak muscle.
Right.
It's about seeing how they're affecting like the whole nervous system.
Exactly.
That's a real...
Exactly. And it's not just a muscle technique as far as getting in on certain muscles. We're combining all the muscles on one nerve pathway so that when we make a change on those, all those muscles send a signal up to the brain and said, hey, we've had a change. And the brain goes, wow, all those muscles had a change. Now all these other muscles that we never even touched are going to contract or relax based on that change. And then you get a postural shift. And posture is the outward expression of the nervous system. So if we get a postural change and we balance the posture, it means we balance the nervous system, and now the body starts to function the way it's supposed to function. Okay, let's get back.
Yeah, and that's where this thing called the MYK posture chart comes in.
There
Okay.
it is.
It's a tool that practitioners use to figure out exactly where the nerve root problems are.
Okay.
So they analyze someone's posture looking for those muscle imbalances. And that helps them figure out which nerve pathways are probably being affected.
So the posture chart helps them narrow down like where in the nervous system the disruption's happening.
Exactly.
And then what happens after that.
So then MYK focuses on working on the muscles along that specific nerve pathway that's been identified.
Okay.
And they do this by applying pressure to those muscles. And it's basically like sending signals to the brain. And then the brain responds by starting to change other muscles, and that's how they reestablish balance in the nervous system.
Oh, she
So it's like
explained
a
it.
domino effect.
Yeah.
You address the problem at the nerve root, and then it creates this ripple effect throughout the body.
Exactly.
man.
Restoring balance and getting rid of pain.
That's really fascinating.
It is pretty cool. And, while more research is always good,
Right.
the stories we're hearing from people and the ideas behind MYK
Yeah.
suggest that it could really change the way we think about pain management.
Yeah. It's a totally different way of thinking
For
about
sure.
it.
It is.
Instead of just masking the pain, it's like you're working with the body to heal itself.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a really powerful concept. And, I'm excited to see where the research goes with this because I think it has a lot of potential.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. So we'll see what the future holds for MYK, but for now, it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk more about MYK.
Sounds good. It really is a different way of thinking about it.
It is. And speaking of shifting perspectives,
Yeah.
I wanted to dig a little deeper into those MYK course descriptions.
Okay.
We talked about some pretty impressive claims, like relieving headaches in like 3 minutes,
Yeah.
resolving plantar fasciitis in 5 treatments, restoring full mobility from frozen shoulder or rotator cuff issues in 4 treatments.
Yeah.
Those are some bold statements.
They are bold. Yeah. And, it's important to remember that everyone's body's different.
Of course.
Everyone responds to treatment differently.
Right.
These claims are based on Dr. Uriarte's experience and what he's seen.
Yeah.
And, feedback from other practitioners who are using MYK.
Right.
But I could see how the idea that something like plantar fasciitis, which is in your foot,
Right.
could be treated by working on your upper body might seem kind of weird to some people.
It definitely raises some questions.
Yeah.
Like, how does manipulating muscles in the upper body, like what we were talking about with the posture chart,
Yeah.
how does that affect something like plantar fasciitis down the foot?
That's where understanding how the nervous system is all connected is really important.
Okay.
The source material doesn't really give us specific breakdowns of how each condition is treated.
Yeah.
But the MYK approach is basically saying that even though conditions might seem totally unrelated,
Right.
they can actually be connected through nerve pathways that start higher up in the body.
Okay.
So even though you feel the pain in your foot,
Right.
the actual problem could be coming from a nerve pathway that's being disrupted somewhere else.
Interesting.
Maybe even
Oh.
in your upper body.
So
normally that's not the case. I mean, it does happen every now and then, but usually you're in the area. But it is absolutely correct that where the pain is does not necessarily always have to correlate to where the problem is. And so a very common thing, and I'll do another research article search on this, is with disc bulges and disc herniations. And we don't always have to treat that level to get rid of the person's symptoms and get them pain-free and moving again. Sometimes it's 1 or 2 levels above or 1 or 2 levels below is the actual problem, and the disc bulge is actually a compensation for what's going on. So you don't necessarily have to treat that particular level as far as where it's, you may see it on an MRI, oh, there's a disc bulge, and they have symptoms that correlate to that, but that may not actually be the problem. So that is a correct statement where it's not always on the same level. Sometimes it's above or below that.
those nerve disruptions higher up,
Yeah.
you can create these positive changes that trickle down to other parts of the body, like the feet.
Exactly.
It's crazy to think about how connected everything really is.
It is. It really speaks to that holistic approach
Yeah.
that MYK takes, looking at the body as a whole.
It really challenges how we usually think about pain relief. Instead of just zeroing in on the spot where it hurts,
Right.
we need to think about the whole nervous system.
Exactly. And, of course, more research is always good.
Yeah.
Especially with something new like this.
Right.
But the early findings and the stories that people are sharing are really promising.
Definitely for our listeners who are interested in this whole body approach to pain relief.
Yeah.
What would you recommend as a first step?
Well, the MYK System website is a great resource.
Okay.
They've got tons of information there.
Yeah.
course descriptions, research articles, and even a directory of certified practitioners.
So it's not something you can just like learn on your own.
Right.
You need to find someone who's actually trained in MYK.
Exactly. It's important to work with somebody who's been properly trained and certified in these techniques.
Okay.
They can figure out what you need and come up with the treatment plan just for you.
Makes sense. It's not one size fits all.
No, not at all.
You really need that expert guidance to make sure it's the right fit for your specific pain.
Absolutely. And that's why I always tell people, do your research, ask questions, and find a practitioner who you really feel comfortable with.
Right. It's about taking control of your health.
Exactly.
And exploring all the options. You know, after diving into all this with you, I'm really intrigued by MYK and what it could do.
Yeah.
It's such a different way of thinking about pain relief.
It is.
Focusing on the nervous system.
Right.
And using the body's own power to heal itself.
Yeah, it's a real paradigm shift.
It is. And it offers hope to people who feel like they've tried everything.
Absolutely.
And nothing has worked.
Yeah, for sure.
That's amazing. So we've been talking about MYK and how it approaches pain through the nervous system.
Yeah.
We've even imagined how it might stack up against other treatments for UCS.
Right.
But now I want to look at some actual research and case studies on MYK.
Okay.
What have you found?
Well, there's a really interesting study in the International Journal of Athletic Therapy and Training. It's about a young athlete who had chronic neck pain and headaches.
Oh, wow.
And they had tried a bunch of different treatments, but nothing really seemed to work long term.
So this was someone who had been dealing with this for a while.
Yeah, it was a tough case.
So what happened when they tried MYK?
Well, the study says that after just one MYK session, this athlete's neck pain and headaches were way better.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing.
But what about, like, in the long run? Did it actually last?
Well, that's the really encouraging part.
Okay.
The researchers followed this athlete for 6 months.
Wow.
And they kept seeing improvement in their pain levels and how well they could function. And the athlete was even able to go back to their sport without any problems.
That's a really powerful case study.
It is.
Are there other examples out there that show similar results?
Yeah, actually, there are a lot of stories and testimonials from both patients and practitioners on the MYK website.
Okay.
I mean, they're not formal research studies, but they do give you a good idea of how MYK is being used in the real world.
Yeah.
And what kinds of results people are seeing.
So is there a common thread in these reports?
Yeah, what really stands out is how consistently people say they experience fast and long-lasting pain relief.
Wow.
Often after years of dealing with chronic pain.
That's got to be so life-changing for people.
It really is.
To finally find something that works.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes this deep dive so important.
Yeah.
You know, we're not just talking about a new treatment. We're talking about a completely new way of thinking about pain and how to deal with it.
It's like we're moving away from just covering up the symptoms.
Yeah.
And instead we're trying to understand and treat the root cause in the nervous system.
Exactly. And, you know, while more research is always a good thing,
of course,
the evidence we do have about MYK is pretty exciting.
It is. So for people listening who are interested in trying MYK, what would you suggest they do?
Well, like I said, the MYK website is a great place to start. They have information about the courses, research articles, and even a list of certified practitioners.
That list is important, right?
It is. You want to make sure you're working with someone who really knows what they're doing.
Right. You don't want to just go to anyone?
Definitely not find a qualified practitioner. And don't be afraid to ask questions and talk about your concerns.
That's good advice.
Yeah, make sure you feel good about their approach before you start any treatment.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive.
It has been.
The idea that the key to pain relief might be within our own nervous systems is amazing.
It really is, and I hope this deep dive has given everyone some new information and maybe even inspired them to look into MYK themselves.
Yeah, me too. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive into MYK.
It was my pleasure.
We hope you found it helpful, and we'll see you next time on the deep dive.
All right, that was pretty good. So I'm going to do a couple more of these and get into some more research articles and different things like that and how the MYK would relate to that kind of stuff. So I hope you enjoyed that. Leave me a comment below if you did or if you didn't. So if you made it this far, smile.